Hey everyone, National Master Sean Lei here, back with another video on the Kali Zukotoy. In today's chess video, we see how the Kali Zukotoy just demolishes the opponent by doing what we usually do, and waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. Today's mistake is an interesting one that you guys might see very often at your level, so I hope you guys can learn something from it. I'll also be explaining why I was away for 2 months, so stay tuned. See you soon. So, let's get straight into it. As you guys can see over here, I'm in another Kali Zukotoy game. You guys can see at the beginning, the first few moves in this position is the very typical Kali Zukotoy, so I skipped through it. As you guys can see, the first few moves, I've shown you guys this probably a million times in this position, where in this position, you're just building up a huge attack against the opponent over here. Look at this huge attack. This attack against the king is going to be so strong. Our opponent played a6. When your opponent plays a6, I always recommend to play a4 to stop b5 as soon as possible, because b5, c4 is a little bit annoying. When the opponent plays queen c7, play knight e5. I think knight e5 is so important because it makes sure that your knight is going to be on a strong, important square for the rest of the game. Now my opponent plays knight over here, and in these positions, you could always play pawn f4. There's nothing wrong with pawn f4 in these positions. Pawn f4 is a good move. It solidifies your knight, tells your opponent, hey, this knight is here to stay. There's not much you can do about it. And as you guys can see, our opponent is in a tough situation here. The attack is coming, he's retreating his pieces, which isn't good, and he takes there? That doesn't seem right. And the reason why it doesn't seem right is I can just take over here, force his bishop away, make his bishop very sad, and now I can just castle kingside, be very happy, have a big attack going on over here, while our opponent has a lot of dark square weaknesses in the position here. So, everything is going well. Now, I might be a little bit concerned about my opponent playing knight b4, but at the moment, not too concerned. I'm just going to play, do I play queen here? Queen here with the idea of playing queen f8, queen h8. I think that's a wonderful idea. It's something that is very normal in these positions, something that you should play. He plays h6. Now that is very interesting. You don't usually see h6 very often because h6 is very weakening on the dark squares. It allows you to play moves like rook g3 with threats of maybe rook f3 with the threats of rook g3 with the idea of, hey, I'm just going to take your pawn on h6. What are you going to do about it? It's a very simple question, but it's a dangerous question for our opponent to try to answer. If he plays g6, I take h6. And if he plays anything else, really, I just take on h6 anyways. So our opponent does need to be a little bit spooked here. He does need to be a little worried because if he does not play the right moves here, he doesn't really have time for knight b4. I'm just going to play rook g3. I'm going to have big threats here. Oh no, this is such a common mistake I see people do at this level where they just don't care about your opponent's moves. And really in this position, after I play rook to g3, how is he going to defend this pawn? It's going to be tough, and this is definitely not the way, I'm pretty sure. Just looking at this does not seem right, because I could just play pawn h4, kick his bishop away. Tell the bishop to go away, tell the bishop that nobody likes him, and the bishop, once he retreats, I'm going to take on h6 anyways. So what did he accomplish with this? I mean, I guess you could say he's a little spooky by looking at e3. Maybe he's threatening to take on e3. Maybe, I don't think so. I mean, he gets 2 pawns for it, but the attack doesn't get stopped at all. In fact, my attack gets even stronger in this position. And so, really, I don't like what my opponent's doing here. This doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I guess he does take here in the end. Well, I guess. And that's not great. Okay, so in this position, he does that. Now, I could play rook g3, but it allows him to win the e5 pawn. Do I want that to happen? Probably not. I think I will just play something very lazy. I'm just going to retreat here because in this position, I am up a pawn. A piece for 2 pawns is really good for me, so that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, update time because my opponent is playing some silly stuff in this position. Update on my life. Essentially, what happened was the last 2 months I've been really busy with work, studying for my CPA, my accounting stuff, and some other things I've been really busy with. However, something sad happened in my life, and therefore I'm able to spend more time on the things I enjoy now, things like playing chess now, and I'm able to work on these games to basically give you guys the best content that I think I can possibly give you guys. I really do enjoy making these videos for you guys. It's something that I find extremely fun, and I'm able to do this now, and I'm very happy for that. I'm very grateful to be given the opportunity to do so now. And so that's what we're gonna do now in the next few weeks. So I will be back. I have a lot more free time now. Um, and hopefully things will be all right. And I know things will be all right. Things always turn out all right in the end. Um, just probably take a little bit of time to let things get better. But back to the fun stuff over here in this position. As you guys can see, we have a very good position. Now, the only thing that you need to worry about when you're winning is your opponent's threats, right? How does your opponent win in this position? I feel like the best way for the opponent to win here is by using these center pawns to be very dangerous. And I kind of just let my opponent do so. I kind of forgot that I needed to, stop that because I was talking to you guys about that. But I don't blame you guys. It's not your fault. We need to do. We need to be worried about this because the pawns coming in like this is not good for me. So perhaps we have to sacrifice our piece back. And if we do, it is what it is. Doesn't really matter. We just sack it back, and we will be fine. We will sack the pieces. If he plays pawn e4, we're just gonna take. And the idea here is, well, we might take this way. And the idea here is, I'm gonna get a lot of pawns in the center back. And when we get all the pawns in the center back, we will be fine. I should have probably did something to blockade this pawn from moving up. That is a very important thing for you guys to do in your games whenever you see pawns rolling down the board. Because when they start rolling down the board like this and you have no pawns to stop it, it is very concerning and not very fun for you. So we got to do something about this. And that's what I'm doing here in this position. So our opponent is just attacking us, which is fine. I'm just going to play queen g3. I think our opponent messed up here. This in-between move's really bad because he can't play this anymore because his queen's hanging. Now, when I take here, I do need to be worried myself as well because my queen's going to be hanging as well. So I can't just, just take that. However, I do have threats of just taking here. That is a big threat for my opponents in this position. But I do get pinned if he plays something like queen b6. So that's something I need to be worried about as well. So maybe just something like king h2 is like the two birds with one stone in this position where we fix all the problems. But that's if our opponent is willing to give us time. And time is something that good opponents will not give you. They will realize that you are in a position of weakness and that he will need to take advantage of it. Otherwise, if he doesn't, he knows that he'll probably lose the game because of that. So right now, if he doesn't bring an extra defender on e5, I am just going to take it. So he does need to find a defender here. Right now. Okay, he plays this, which is interesting because it doesn't do what I just said. It just lets me take on e5. And if he lets me take on e5, his entire position collapses. Because now I'm getting my pawns back and his big center is big no more. Let's say that. It's big no more. So he's threatening to take my bishop. I'm going to take back. He can't play rook e8 because then I just take his queen for free. So he has to run away with his queen, really, if he wants to, do anything. So, okay, I'm going to take back with my knight, I guess, just threatening to win the bishop. When I threaten to win the bishop, it allows me to have some time to win the d4 pawn as well. And I get all the pawns back. Very slow conversion over here. We're slowly making our position better for us, slowly but surely. And wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. And that's always been my playstyle, to just slowly build up an advantage and positionally outplay the opponent. Now, our opponent plays this over here. I think we just take. To take is generally a mistake, but not in this position. It's pretty good. We're going to take on d4. Need to make sure there's no silly forks or anything. This move protects this, allows me to play pawn c3, pawn b4, pawn a5, have a super good pawn chain. I got all my pawns back. I'm just up an extra piece in this position, which is good. So let's play pawn c3. Let's kick his knight away. His knight cannot come here. I just take him, so that's not a worry, not a concern for me. I kick him away, tell him to go away. Nobody likes him. Shoot, bye. Okay, and after that, we're just going to trade off all the pieces. Whoa, 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 whoa. Our opponent thinks he's very cool by doing this, because he thinks if I take here, knight d3, which does work, by the way, this idea, but that just trades off pieces if you really think about it. And the worst thing is, in this position, I don't even need to trade off the pieces. I can just take one of my bishop. And if I take one of my bishop and he plays knight d3, what does he have? What is he doing? Well, you might say he's doing nothing, and I agree. He is doing nothing. Now, make sure everything's safe. Yeah, let's just play this move over here. No forks. His piece is not in the great square. He takes me, and now he's just down an entire rook. Okay, So in this position, generally you want to trade pieces, not pawns. So in this position, generally you probably want to protect this, but I didn't see a good way to protect it. Let's play pawn a5. This is very important in this type of endgame because you stop a pawn from moving up. This is very important type of move because your one pawn is blocking two pawns from moving. This is a very important endgame technique for you guys to learn. I'm up an extra rook. I'm not sure why our opponent's still in the game. He probably should be resigning. There is no hope for him to win in this game. And we're just going to slowly bring our pieces into the game and watch our opponent resign, essentially. Like, what is our opponent going to do? Well, he wants to come out. Sure, if he wants to. But my rook is on the 7th rank. I'm pressuring all these pieces. Opponent plays that. That's fine. You know what they say, guys. You know, what is better than a rook on an open file? A rook on the 7th rank is way better. Because you just smash everything by the opponent. And there's nothing he can do to defend against it. This is one of the best ways to take advantage of your rooks when your opponent isn't really doing anything, like right now. I'm going to put this rook over here. I'm going to eat everything, trade off everything. If I can trade off everything, life will be good. All right, he does that. Let's give him a little check first. Hopefully he plays pawn g6. If he plays pawn g6, we have a mating threat. That's unstoppable. I guess it's not unstoppable. We can play g5. But g6, we're going to play that. And if he plays king h7, we can just play here anyways. In this position, we're threatening the mate. He's going to play g5. We can play check, check, win the pawn, win this pawn, win every pawn in the game. And in the end game, the most important thing is to try to promote a pawn. But our opponent doesn't do that. And so we just checkmate him. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you guys feel. And I will be back extremely soon. See you guys in the next video.